so then you come in and you sing. They sing one of my songs from when I was growing up that I can't sing. You guys know this. I can't sing. But man, I would sing that song loud. And it was my favorite song from Jesus Christ Superstar. So I'm talking like this just so I can get my composure back. Just give me a minute, thanks. Oh, no, I love it, I love it, I love it. So I just want to say welcome to everybody. If anybody doesn't know me, I am Reverend Beverley Strutt. I am the spiritual director here. Sometimes they call me this senior minister. Sometimes they call me general bottle washer. Cook? Yes, that's one of my titles too. So I'm so happy to see you all. Everybody's here for the first time. Welcome. Anybody joining us online, welcome home. This is just where we are. And I am just so extremely grateful to be able to be a part of this community, to having seen it come through COVID and then come back again and just watch everybody start trickling back in and growing and just enjoying this place. It is special. There's something unique. When they built this building, they put something in here. They dropped something into the ground. I'm not asking what it is. I don't think I want to know. But whatever it is bringing forth some wonderful beauty and everything. So we have a lot going on. It is Palm Sunday, so we're going to get into that. But before I do, I got a call this morning from Barbara Johnson, and I promised her that I would speak to this right away. She normally comes in and would have spoken to herself, but she just wanted to let everybody know that the show that she was putting on, the Gospel Express, had to be postponed. So it'll come forward at another time when it's really divine right timing. We always lean into that and know that. And if anybody has bought their tickets, please know that there are refunds available to you. And she just wants you all to know that her experiences that she creates really come from a divine vibration. And if it's just not the right time, it's not the right time. And so we just say thank you for that, and knowing that it'll come forward again. And so if you have gotten your tickets, please contact Barbara. She'll take care of you. Okay. So, Palm Sunday. I love Palm Sunday. Well, actually, I love all of the holidays because there's only one story to tell, right? And then we've got to find a way to tell it to you all new again. And that's a real nice challenge. But, of course, my favorite joke, you guys have heard it before, and I'm going to tell it again. It's about Palm Sunday. It was Palm Sunday, but because of a sore throat, 8-year-old Billy stayed home from church. When his family returned home, they were carrying several palm fronds. Johnny asked them what they were. Why were they there? What were they doing? And the family told him, people lined the streets with them to herald Jesus' return. His father was so delighted to tell him that, and they held them over his head as he walked by. Billy was like, geez, the one Sunday I don't go and he shows up. Ba-dum-ting. I love it, I love it, I love it. So Palm Sunday. Well, our theme for the year is Rise Up. Thank you for that great Rise Up song, you guys. That was wonderful. And the theme for the month is That's How We Have Never Done It. Yeah, I know grammatically it doesn't sound like a good title, but you know what? When you dig down into it, that's how we have never done it. And I'm not going to fix the grammar because it really does work. And then today our topic is new, now, and what's next. So Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. It was Palm Sunday. And if any of you have ever seen any of the movies, you know that they were lining the streets, they were singing Hosanna, Hosanna, and it was this incredible event. He didn't go in the back door. He didn't ride in on a big stallion, a big, white, beautiful horse. He rode in on a donkey. Came in. He was going to do it. He wasn't going to go through the back door, didn't want to go that way because that was not the way he was re-entering. But he also wasn't coming as a king. He was coming not to overthrow the Romans, but to change them. So he came in on a beautiful donkey. And before we get into all of that happened after he rode in, one more time, let's look at what was going on before he got to that point. We all want to ride into our new lives, even if it's on a donkey, and we'll understand why in a minute. No matter how we want to enter into our new lives, we want to ride in. But what happened before was the most important part of the journey. And the title of our month is that idea of we've never done it like this before, came about when he went into the desert. He went into the desert. It was a time for him to get clear, if you will. I mean, we can say it in so many different ways, to open up that vessel so that he can truly be who he was. Now, let's not forget, Jesus had already done the work, right? Okay, this wasn't like he was a newbie. He wasn't showing up going, oh, I don't know anything right now. No, he had been doing his work. He'd been preaching his preach. He'd been doing his thing, right? Beautifully, effortlessly, elegantly, in so many ways. But there was something new to be known. There was a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of what he was called to do. So he went into the desert for those 40 days and 40 nights. And he went in with nothing, right? I love it. We've got our Pastor Didi over here, and she's got this story down. I wish I could just call her up and she could tell you all, because it would be so good. Yeah, I love it. So when she's smiling and nodding, I know I'm on the right track. So anyway, so we in Lent, we give up something, right? Jesus went into the desert with nothing. He didn't go, okay, I'm going to give up dates, but I'll take some apples with me, maybe a pear, maybe a little unleavened bread or whatever. No. He went with nothing at all. He literally went in to starve out any of those hidden beliefs that he may still have had. He was not going to get anything was going to get in the way of this. It was a time of challenge, a time of clearing, a time of allowing whatever needed to be released completely, so that he could step forward and do what was needed to be done. I mean, there was even a challenge with water. You know, he could have pulled up to an oasis, right? It's Jesus. He could have found an oasis, a nice tree. He could have relaxed underneath it. He could have done his meditation. He could have done his journaling. He could have done the contemplation. He could have done the visioning. He could have done all of these nice, gentle, wonderful things. But no, he didn't. He didn't find the oasis. He sat on the dry rocks. He was in the sand. He was in the dirt. He was literally going down to nothingness to rebuild himself back or open himself up to be able to be that new. He had never done it this way before, and it needed to be done to bring something new up to be known. Anybody have any challenges when they start to open themselves up to a new... Stephen's got both of his hands up in the back. You open yourself up to a new idea, a new way of being, a new wanting to bring something forward. You think there's a challenge in there? There's a challenge in there. There's no doubt there's a challenge in there. Yeah, do you think Jesus had any challenges? Yes. Had he done his work? He'd done his work already. So he was already on the right track. We know that from God's spell. He's on the right track, doing what he needs to do, right? But he still had to do more. So he had to go deeper. And does anybody know what happens when you go deeper? Does anybody know what happens when you choose a different idea? Everything unlike what you desire will show up right here and go, look at me. Are you sure? Are you really? Oh, yeah, you're claiming this, you want to do. Are you really sure? Jesus had the devil. Yeah. I watched the temptation of Christ the other day, and this devil, I mean, he looked like a really sweet guy. But no, he was saying all the right words. He was being challenged like nothing had ever challenged him. Everything that was still residing in his body, unlike the desire that he wanted for humanity, was showing up. Yeah. Now, you guys know what that feels like when you are trying to do something new. You're trying to do something new. And every part of you that is unlike and not in alignment with that you are wanting to release is going to say, look at me. Look at me right now. Are you really sure it's time to let this go? I'm happy. I'm comfortable. I get all the things done that you want. Come on back. Come on. Come over to this side. It's a much more fun. You don't know what's over there. You don't know what's going to happen. You've got this idea of what it's going to look like when you've done with all of this. But you don't know. You don't know. And what you have to do, and what Jesus did at that moment in time, is stand in his conviction. He had to stand solid in the ground of love. He had to stand solid in the idea of a new humanity, a new way of being that he was called to bring forward. We are called to do that every single day for ourselves, to stand in that conviction. It's easy to come on Sundays and have fun and enjoy everything. It's great to take the workshops and the classes, and while you're in it, you're there. It's great to come to the circles and discuss this and be on it. But what do you do in that dark hour? What do you do when everything that you've said has come up to say, really? Are you sure? That's the time. That's the time when you're in the desert. That's the time when Jesus was in the desert. When he came to the knowing and the understanding of what he truly wanted, with everything unlike it showing up to be known. Did he do it? Yeah. Can we do it? Yes. Of course we can. You don't have to go to the desert, please. Don't even go to Arizona. You don't even have to do that. You don't have to do that. But there is this desire for us to do this work. And it's not the superficial work. It's not the, oh yeah, I'm doing my stuff and I'm getting there. It's once we've already got to that point where you want to now really, really do it, yes, you're going to feel the pain of the hunger. You're going to feel the sand in your mouth as you dig deep. You're going to feel that yuckiness that comes up when you are dragging all of that unnecessary old hidden beliefs up to get them out of you. But what do you get in return? You get that lightness, you get the wonderment. You can stand on the hill outside of Jerusalem and look down just as Jesus did and went, I'm ready. Yeah, maybe not. Yes, I'm ready. Well, let me think about this. Am I ready? And as he stood there and he looked down onto Jerusalem, he knew what his life was going to be. He knew instinctually that he was supplied and supported by the divine in every single way to bring forward what he had chosen to do in this world for humanity. We all get to do the same thing. But he got to do it in a way as an example that we can follow. But he only got there because he did the desert. You don't get there without the desert. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can take a hat if you want, maybe an umbrella, but you still got to go through the desert. You want to go through that time, because in doing so, you can release all of that old stuff that no longer serves you and make room for the beauty to come forward. So he's done the desert, and now he's riding into town. And he's coming in, like I said, he's not going through the back door. He's not going on a great white stallion, because we know that humbleness, forgiveness, clarity, and love were the foundations of his authentic power. That's from Gary Zoloff. But you know, he still rode in on a donkey. Now we know too that the donkey had never been ridden before. This was the first time anybody had ridden that donkey. A new beginning, a brand new idea was being ridden into Jerusalem at that moment. Brand new donkey. But now what does the donkey also represent? Stubbornness, resistance. So even after doing all of this work, Jesus still rode in on his resistance. He was human. We do all that work, and there's still going to be that little resistance. He rode it in. It was a new idea. That donkey was the first time being ridden in, and a brand new idea was going into Jerusalem, and it also represented a bit of his resistance. Just because you know, folks, doesn't mean to say everything's going to be okay all of the time. We're going to have resistance, yeah. But what do? Do you stop? Do you put your hooves in? Or do you actually ride in on your resistance? Use it as the way to move forward. He goes in. He's in. Yeah, Hosanna, Hosanna. Everybody's celebrating. It's magnificent. He goes to the temple. What does he do? He gets triggered. Done all the work. Man, those 40 days in the desert really worked him. Everything that he didn't like came up sore. And he was still triggered. I call it my come to Jesus moment. I love it. He was not having it. It was unlike what he wanted to see for humanity, what he wanted to see for his God, his Father, what he wanted to see as a greater way of being in the world for everybody. He was triggered because one more time, something he didn't want to see showed up. Where did it show up? In the house of his Father. Woohoo! What did he do? Bam! Yes, it must have felt so damn good. It must have felt so good. You know what it's like when you show up and you see something and it's unlike what you want and you conquer it. Yes. Do you think there's another one behind that? Yeah, probably, but we're not going to do that one. He had that moment. He was still human, but he had made the decisions, he had made the choices. Because this is what he wanted to see. This was the example that we can follow and live by. An example. He was not the exception, folks. He was the example. So whenever you get into a tough situation, don't go, I don't know what to do. Look at Jesus. All right? I know this is not a Christian church. And this, you might be having like little itchies right now. But the bottom line is this was the greatest example of how we can live our lives. Jesus never said, do this. He said, if you find yourself in this situation, you might want to consider doing it this way. Why not? Why not? When you have those choices, choose that way. What was it? WWJD, what would Jesus do? WWJD, right? Okay. This is a great way to go. It's a fantastic way to go because it's still based in love. It's always based in love. So what do we know about his journey that we've just gone through for our own selves? We know that we get to do this too. We know that we're the reason that a lot of this got recorded so that we had an example, that we could do this and know that we're not alone. Everybody goes through this stuff all of the time. Like Jesus wasn't the exception, and neither are you. We're all examples of a greater life that we get to have. Jesus wanted this. He desired this for humanity. And this is what Dr. Ernest Holmes writes. Jesus spoke of the joy which he had and which he desired us to have, that our joy might be full. There is music at the center of everything. The melody is real. We must uncover the song and permit it to saturate our souls with joy. The ancients said that the wind whispers, the leaves clap their hands, and the morning stars sing together. Spiritual living is not a droll affair. It is a triumphant entry of the soul into the secret place of the Most High, where the scroll of life is inscribed with the joyous words, I am the Lord thy God, and in the midst of thee. It's from Dr. Holmes. So when we hear the story, we are called to doing a new way, being a new way, doing something unlike what we've ever done before, how we have never done it before. This is the calling of Palm Sunday. This is the calling to look and say, can I do my 40 days and 40 nights and really dig down? And there are ways that we can walk this out just for beginnings. And those are in our intentions of how we want to see a new way come forward. So what are our intentions about doing things in a new way? What are our intentions? I'm quoting one of our dear congregants here when I say, if you keep doing what you've done, you get what you got. Right over here. If you keep doing what you've done, you get what you got. So let's set some great intentions for a new way of being. Scott Aubrey says this about the power of intentions. Being so clear in what we are called to be and do that the tumblers of the universe will roll into alignment to make the way possible for our fulfillment. And when we are clear in our intentions, everything in the universe conspires to support us in it. But it does require our commitment. Do you think the universe, God, was conspiring with Jesus while he was out in the desert? He came out alive. I don't know many people that can do 40 days and 40 nights in the desert with absolutely nothing, being hammered on with all of the stuff that has to come out. He did. So the universe was conspiring, but was it conspiring just for Jesus in that moment? I don't think so. It was conspiring for all of us. It was conspiring to show us that there's a new way that we can walk in this world. But it begins with us doing that work. Are you willing to step out of that comfort zone of the oasis with the dates? Are you willing to dig deeper? Are you willing to confront your hidden beliefs and take the time and the trouble to truly do that? Are you willing to be a new being in humanity? Are you willing to know that what you do is important and that it goes out and it affects everybody? Because as you shift and the universe shifts in agreement with you, so everything shifts. Are you willing? It's Palm Sunday and I love it. But I want to close today with a bit of inspiration from Pope Francis. He says, you can have flaws, be anxious, and even be angry. But don't forget that your life is the greatest business in the world. Only you can stop it from failure. You are appreciated, admired, and loved by many. Remember that being happy is not having a sky without storms, a road without accidents, a job without effort, relationships without disappointments. Being happy is to stop feeling a victim and become the author of your own destiny. It's going through deserts, but being able to find an oasis deep in your soul. It's to thank God every morning for the miracle of life. It's kissing your children, cuddling your parents, having poetic moments with your friends, even when they hurt us. Be happy is to let live the creatures, to let live the creatures that live in each of us, free, joyful, and simple. It's having maturity to be able to say, I made mistakes. Having the courage to say, I'm sorry. Having a sensitivity to say, I need you. It's having the ability to say, I love you. May your life become a garden of opportunities for happiness, that in spring I can be the lover of joy, and in winter a lover of wisdom. And when you make a mistake, start over. Because only then will you fall in love with life. You will find that being happy doesn't mean having a perfect life, but she uses tears to irrigate tolerance. Use your defeats to train your patience. Use your mistakes with the serenity of a sculptor. Use pain to tune into pleasure. Use obstacles to open the windows of intelligence. Never give up. Above all, never give up on the people that love you. Never give up on happiness, because life is an amazing show. And so it is. Yeah. Whew. Let's take this to prayer. So we just breathe in and allow ourselves to become grounded in these words. Allow ourselves to be grounded in this absolute wonderful happiness, this joy, this beauty, this wisdom, this balance, this compassion, this peace that we know that is the divine. Recognizing that God is all there is, in all that is seen, unseen, omnipotent, and omnipresent. And I know that it is working around me, through me, and as it is working around all of us, through all of us, and as all of us. And I know that as we navigate these weeks, this Holy Week that we've come through, Palm Sunday, where we begin the celebration of a new way of being, we celebrate Jesus of Nazareth for being that incredible example of how we can do our lives, where we celebrate the newness that we choose, knowing that no matter what is happening around us, we know that behind it all, we are supplied, supported in every way by God, by creation, by the knowingness that there is this magnificent intelligence that is conspiring for our greatest and highest good. And so I know for us as we walk our path this week, that these words, this love, this joy, even the sadness and the pain that comes with all of it, guides us, guards us, and protects us in everything that we do. And I call it good. And so we can claim it together by saying, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.